Thank you. Actually, just to follow up on Senator Savino's comments, in trying to identify the impact, and again, I think it's, for most of us, it's just trying to get a handle as we go forward, and thank you for your earlier comments to Senator Young's questions as well. In the SALT deductions, some taxpayers are subject to the alternative minimum tax. And so those earners, even though they would have probably high income tax and local property taxes, if they hit the AMT, they may not use those to file because they're going to pay their base tax anyway. Do you know if the $14.3 billion takes into account that group of payers or not?
I believe we've adjusted for that, but Amanda, do you know specifically?
I believe we were looking at state and local deductions that are being taken now.
Okay.
So I'm sorry.
I believe we looked at state and local deductions that are being taken now. So folks who are on the alternative minimum tax weren't taking those deductions.
Thank you. And just for, I know one of the things that was highlighted was the possibility of doing something with possibly a donation and having a charitable donation. I know there is some concern how the IRS might treat that or not. So are we anticipating that we will get a ruling back from them, or a feeling that, or are we concerned it might be challenged in court to say whether we could or couldn't do that thing?
Yeah. So we know that the federal government acted in a way that was hostile to New York, right? They needed the money to pay for the broader tax cut. So we're working within, and the attorneys at Tax and Finance can speak to this, but we're working within the confines of the bill. As anyone in the private sector does, the state is now looking for, are there ways within the current tax law that we can use to the advantage of our taxpayers? State and local contributions and the charitable deductions, there is a precedent. There's other states presently that have charitable deductions for educational purpose, where they get a tax credit back. That tax credit varies from as high as 100% to, and goes down from there. So there are precedents there. Are we going to wait for a ruling? I think we have to do what's in the best interest of New Yorkers, working within the confines of the bill, and do what we think and believe fits within the framework of the bill and is legal. Can the IRS challenge some of the things to do? Yeah, it's possible that they do that. Like I said, then the governor's looking at three different things. One is change the tax code, two is attempt to repeal and replace, and also we're suing. But we think the charitable contributions, looking at other states, are doing this as well. So we think there is an opportunity there to get some of the deductibility back. I don't know if Amanda has anything else on this.
I guess the only thing I would add is that although it's certainly possible that the IRS might make statements that would raise questions about whether a particular charitable structure was acceptable or not, at the end of the day, that becomes a fact-based analysis for an individual taxpayer years from now. Speaking for the state tax department, we issue advisory opinions all the time, and taxpayers do not feel bound by them, and we find ourselves in court all the time because the fact that we said it doesn't make it true.
Just for clarity too, we're hoping to do this that will impact 2018 taxes for our state's filings in 2019, right?
We're looking right now, so when we propose it, we'll see the dates we're seeing. If we can get something done for the 2018 tax year, we will try. If not, then it'll have to be for the 2019 tax year.
Well, one of the things is my understanding, and I know we're talking about taking a case on to the federal government in challenging in court. My understanding is New York City can't write off their city income tax on the state income tax. By us doing that, are we subjecting us to the city coming and saying, well, if you're not telling them they can, or, you know?
No. This is an issue of states' rights it's an agreement between the states and the federal government. As I mentioned, the very first time the federal government attempted to raise money from the states, the requirement was that you had to deduct state and local taxes from your federal taxes, right? 1863, and then when you created the modern federal income tax, the state said, only after you deduct state and local taxes. The principle was that the states tax their citizens first to support local services. The federal government can then tax after that, but you can't double tax. You can't tax on top of the tax. That's what the personal income tax at the federal level was based on, going back to its earliest inception. So it doesn't relate to whether or not what we do with New York City, which is a creature of the state, that isn't really relevant to the legal arguments. Our arguments relate to, this is a states' rights issue, it relates to our relationship to the federal government, and it's a foundation of federal income tax that's been around for, like I said, over 100 years. So we don't think there's an issue there.
Thank you.